Hello guys, welcome back to the Try Time Podcast YouTube channel. I'm Callum and this is the top 10 props in Super League. Now, as you may know, we have done the top 10 second rows in Super League and the top 10 loose forwards in Super League. So thanks for all the support we've got on them. If you haven't seen them already, go check them out as well as this one. We obviously are going through all the positions, and today we're on to the props, we're on to the big boys. And this one has been really tough because so many teams have got so many props, so many good props. It has been tough. But of course, and as always before I get into it, this is my opinion. There's so many good options that have been missed off this list. Let me know down below who I have missed. And yeah, let's just get straight into it. And we'll start off at number 10. And this one's a bit of a... Obviously, he's still good now. It's a bit of a legacy one. It's Julian Busquets. I think it's understated how consistently good this guy has been for Catalans over the last 10 years or so. Like, he's always there, he's always doing a job. And I think it does go understated because he plays over in France. I think he's great. He's still doing it now at 32 years of age. Still got a good few years in tank, I'd imagine, as well. Just a solid prop and sort of epitomises everything you want in a prop. Workhorse, consistent, everything you want, really. And now I'll move on to number 9, which I'm actually kind of using him as the token impact player on this list. I've gone with Sam Lazzoni. And this is, it was contentious because when I was looking through, I was thinking, obviously you've got your props that do the big minutes, that start, that set the platform, and then you've got your impact props who come on and just bust tackles and just cause absolute mayhem against tired defences. Lazzoni epitomises that. I think he's probably the best, if not one of the best, in the league at coming off the bench and being impactful. His only downfall is sometimes he can be injured, he's a bit injury prone, but when he does play, he's amazing in attack and amazing in defence. He's a really impactful player, and I would argue he is, this season especially, Leeds' best prop. Now we move on to number 8, and we've got another boy who's come over from overseas, and we've got Patrick Margot. And I think, again, does he come under that sort of impact off the bench? I think it's different to Lazzoni, but it definitely is an impact. Again, I think he's consistent. I think you look at Wigan, they have got so many good props, but I think he goes under the radar as well as a lot of these players do. I think he's great, does all the sort of stuff that goes unnoticed really well, which is what you want a prop. A good prop tends to go a bit unnoticed and just does the job every week, and Margot does that for me. Now move on to number 7. Now this one might cause a bit of a stir potentially, and I've gone with Herman Sasa. And I know, and if you're an avid listener to the podcast, me and Matt absolutely love this guy. We feel so sorry for him in the situation that there currently is at Hull at the minute, but he is by far their best player in terms of attitude, commitment. Everything's going on around him that's not great at the club, and he's just there putting in the effort every week. I think he's great. I think he's probably the one overseas signing that Hull FC have actually got right in the past couple of years. I think he's great, and I honestly can see him. I mean, Hull FC, he's the sort of player that they need to be keeping, but I could also see him obviously moving on and succeeding elsewhere as well. I think he's a really good, proper good starting number 10 who just does the job. And now we'll move on to another Wigan player, the second Wigan player on this list. There is going to be more, don't worry. And it's Ethan Havard. And again, I think he goes under the radar. I think, this is a young English prop. Like, Wigan are the best team in the league by a mile the last year or so. And you've got a young Ethan Havard starting for Wigan every week, number 8 jersey, doing a job every single week. And I think that cannot go understated. I think he's so good at the ages as well. I think we've got a real gem on his hands here. As England and Super League in general, he's a really good prop. He doesn't do stuff that's like really flashy. He doesn't, break tackles and go full. He doesn't do like Lazzoni sort of hits, but he just does everything right. And I really like him. And I can see him going, better on this list if we do it next year as well. And next up, we go number 5. We're going across to Wigan's bitterest rivals, and we've got Alex Walmsley. Now, a couple of years ago, he'd probably be in the top 3 on this list. I think injuries hinders him, and he is now obviously on that winding down stage. But I think the way he set that platform of coming up from Batley, coming up from the Championship and showing that can be done, and then the impact he had, I mean, post-contact meters, he's got to be up there over the last 5 years in Super League. I mean, what an absolute beast of a player. It's criminal he hasn't got more England appearances, but like I say, injuries have really held him back in that regard because he definitely would have had more. But yeah, I think Walmsley's great. He's probably on that bit of a decline now, but you know he can still definitely do a job at this level. Next we've got number 4, who's a player who I think definitely does the job at this level, and I think will go to the NRL and do a job at an even better level. And it's saying at Saints, it's Matty Lees. I think he is so good, and I do think he's going to be one of the next young English players to go to the NRL. I think he's got the build for it. I think he's got the attitude for it. I think he's got the style of play for it. I just think he's great. I think the way that there's, when they lost Luke Thompson, obviously, a good few years ago now, back over to the NRL, the seamless transition between Lees then stepping up into that front full number 10 role, it was so seamless, and that is credit, because Luke Thompson's a good player, as we may see later on in this list. But it's credit to Matty Lees, because what a player he actually is. It's incredible. Again, another young English prop that we've got. It's crazy how many of these props on this list are actually English, and it's really positive looking forward. And now we've got top 3, and we've got one who's not going to be in Super League sadly next year, and we've got Tom Amone, who obviously have signed for Canterbury for next year. What a player. I mean, he's obviously had the controversies around the sort of injuring players, the suspensions, the discipline, but he was so integral to Lee being so good last year. What a prop forward he is. I mean, he was great in the Championship with him. He was been great in Super League with him. I just think he's great. Obviously, he's earned that move to the NRL as well. And it's hard to do that for a player who's come over, he's shown that he is that level, and then he's going to go back over there, and I'm sure he's going to absolutely smash it. Great prop forward. Does everything you want. He's got that impact, that running style that's great. I just think he's great. Lee fans are definitely going to miss him. And we've already mentioned this guy. He's number 2. And we've got Luke Thompson. Now, do I think Luke Thompson's the best he's ever played? At the minute, no. Do I think he's probably got the highest ceiling out of any of the props in Super League at the minute? Yes. I think he's easily on his day the best. Obviously, he showed that down under. He went down under and he was no slouch. He was really good down there. Obviously, the best I've probably seen him play and the most impressed I've been by him was probably that season before he went down under. For Saints, he was really good. And now at Wigan, I mean, Wigan have got that many props. He can afford to have some bad days and stuff and days off, I guess. But I think on his day, he is the best. And again, it's another Englishman who I think we're very lucky to have. And now number 1, and that's interesting now because I know for a fact there'll be some fans of certain teams who'll be thinking, when is this player from my team going to come up? And they may be expecting to see this player at number 1. But for me, undoubtedly, the number 1 prop at the minute in Super League is Paul Vaughan. I think he's amazing. I think the impact he had when he signed for Warrington last year and how he was so integral to that change. And, they started on fire, and obviously we know Wheels went off eventually and Powell went and all that saga. We know what happened there. But in terms of that initial boost, Vaughan was so integral to that, and then that's continued this season. I think he leads from the front, he does big minutes, he makes meters, defensively he never misses a tackle. I think he's amazing. I think he's one of them players where you almost were shocked that he'd come over because he's still good enough for the NRL, easily, in my opinion. The fact he's come over, really bought into what they're trying to do at Warrington, especially now under Burgess, that team. Lachlan Fitzgibbon's come over as well. Check the second row video out for that. And they've really bought into that, and you're seeing it on the pitch. I mean, I'm recording this, and you might be seeing this after just watching Warrington potentially win the Challenge Cup. I'm recording it a few days before. If they do end up doing that, I think Vaughan's going to be a big part of that. And I mean, I'm going to look absolutely amazing if he does end up, winning the lads' Todd and stuff, and it's all amazing. But yeah, that's it. Number 1. Tell me what you think, guys. Am I right? Who have I missed? I know KR fans are going to say Sue should be on here or King or any of them. KR's problem for me is they've got a lot of good props in terms of there's not really got a bad one. They've just got a lot of good ones who rotate and do really well. I don't think they've got anyone who deserving on this list. Leeds fans, tell me your views on Noah Ledskate. I think Lazone is better at the minute, honestly. And I think Matt agrees with me, to be fair, as a Leeds fan. And yeah, just tell me some other teams. I know there'll be players that you think should be on here that I've missed. But yeah, let me know down in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in a bit.